We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with some news regarding former WWE superstar Keith Lee, who is now signed to the competition AEW after making his thunderous debut last month on Dynamite. Now, in a recent interview, Keith Lee revealed some very interesting information regarding his move to AEW, because according to Lee, he was reached out to by AEW president Tony Khan just 3 days after his official WWE release, which definitely shows that AEW saw massive potential in Keith Lee and wanted to waste no time in signing the big man that Vince refused to push or promote the way he should have been in WWE. Here's a quote from Keith Lee. "I don't even know if I should say this stuff, but it's fine because it wasn't a business thing or anything. Yeah, that release happened, and within 3 days, Tony found a way to get in touch with me. I was actually really impressed by that, considering we have never spoken before. We had some really laid-back conversations and kind of got to know each other a little bit. And I think that's something that helped, because I think that some of my trust was a little disgruntled." Keith Lee finished up by saying this regarding talking and meeting with Tony Khan. "So we had a conversation, and then as time wore on, things got a little easier. We kind of met up, and I have this thing where I must meet a person, in person. I'm a big people feeler as opposed to listening to things. I'm an energy guy, so when I did meet him, I decided he was a fairly stand-up guy, and I really enjoyed my time with him." Now, if what Keith Lee is saying is true, that is definitely a bit shocking, as this basically means AEW were reaching out to Keith Lee while he was still under his non-compete clause with WWE, but who knows the exact details regarding the situation, but nonetheless, AEW clearly saw massive potential in Keith Lee and felt getting in touch immediately after his release was the right call, and it definitely was, as most fans are firmly under the belief that Keith Lee has everything it takes to be a top-level main event superstar, and that WWE were simply holding him back by not pushing him and keeping him stuck in a bad position within the company. Hopefully, All Elite Wrestling provide better opportunities for Keith Lee compared to WWE, because again, lots feel Keith is a main event level talent and should be utilized in the world title scene, and not floundering around in the mid-card with no direction like he was during his main roster run in WWE before his release. With all of this being said, let us know your thoughts on AEW President Tony Khan reaching out to Keith Lee over possibly joining AEW just 3 days after his WWE release. And do you feel like Tony could be in a bit of hot water for trying to sign Keith Lee while he was still technically under that non-compete clause with WWE? And overall, what are your personal thoughts on Keith Lee in AEW? And do you feel like he will be utilized better and achieve more in All Elite Wrestling compared to the main roster of WWE? Or do you feel like Keith Lee will still struggle to find some momentum in AEW? Let us know. Now, a lot of fans have been wondering exactly what's going on with Alexa Bliss in WWE, and the plans the company have in place for Alexa, if any. And not surprisingly, many fans are a bit worried over Alexa's status in the WWE, and rightfully so, especially with the latest unfortunate news revealed by Alexa Bliss over her current position in WWE. Now, a fan had asked Alexa Bliss on Twitter late last night when she's going to be coming back to WWE after taking this recent lengthy absence, and Alexa's response was quite disheartening, with Alexa simply replying with a statement that it's not up to her when she returns, and that it is completely in WWE's hands at this point. This response from Alexa Bliss further upset many wrestling fans who have patiently been waiting for Alexa Bliss's comeback or return, but that doesn't seem like it will be happening anytime soon, with Alexa Bliss's reply to the comments about her returning, and it is a rather bleak update about Alexa's status in WWE in all honesty. It seems like Alexa Bliss will continue to remain sidelined and away from television for the foreseeable future and likely miss WrestleMania 38 at the very least. But the really sad news is that there would usually be at least some rumors going around regarding the WWE's plans for a major superstar like Alexa Bliss after WrestleMania, if they didn't actually have any plans for them at Mania. But there are sadly no rumors or updates regarding Alexa's status with WWE even after WrestleMania at this point. So it is truly anyone's guess right now what Vince McMahon has planned for Alexa in the future. After Alexa Bliss had put out this unfortunate message that a return may not be happening soon, and that there's really nothing she can do about it, many of her fans voiced their opinions that they feel Alexa is being misused and deserves better, and that WWE is being very frustrating lately by not having anything for Alexa Bliss to do, despite just recently returning from a hiatus, with some even feeling like Alexa Bliss should consider a move to AEW All Elite Wrestling in the near future if things don't change in WWE. However, let's just hope that things begin to change for the better when it comes to Alexa Bliss in WWE, because whether or not you're a fan of her current storyline in the company, Alexa is definitely a very talented superstar who should be featured in or near the title picture, especially when the division is pretty shallow in terms of legitimate contenders for the championship. For those of you who have not heard yet, the WWE announced last Thursday that they have signed 14 new talent for their performance center, and one of them caught the attention of the entire wrestling community. One of the new recruits is 23-year-old David Bostian, who has a background in wrestling and powerlifting, and many fans instantly began speculating that David is secretly Randy Orton's brother, or at the very least some distant family member, because of the uncanny resemblance between them. But these rumors are not true, and there reportedly is no relation between the new WWE recruit David Bostian and Randy Orton, although they definitely look extremely similar, which could be a good thing for David in the long term in WWE, because perhaps Vince McMahon will work the resemblance into a storyline, and have Randy Orton introduce David Bostian as his on-screen son or brother, which would not be that hard to sell or convince many fans because of the uncanny resemblance. We now have an important update regarding Asuka's status or future in WWE, and it thankfully looks a lot better than originally thought or expected. As many of you are likely aware, there were some rumors going around recently that Asuka could have been on her way out of WWE and possibly next to be released, but according to a new backstage rumor, Asuka is reportedly planned to be finally making her return to WWE during spring this year in 2022, which could be any time from late this month all the way up until mid-June. But we have been told that there is a very good chance that Asuka will be brought back to television shortly following WrestleMania 38. Which is definitely great and relieving news. One of the big wrestling news stories recently is certainly regarding Cesaro's departure from WWE, and as many of you are likely aware, Cesaro chose not to renew his contract with WWE or re-sign, and instead try his luck outside of WWE, which many fans feel is a good overall decision for Cesaro, who clearly was not going anywhere in WWE, as Vince simply refused to give Cesaro any sustained pushes. However, there is some intriguing news to share about Cesaro, because the Swiss Superman may have just subtly revealed his ring name after his WWE release. It has been revealed that Cesaro has recently filed to trademark Cesaro, spelled C-S-R-O, in all capital letters. And if this goes ahead, this is a great way for Cesaro to keep a similar name to WWE, but just with a new spelling.